You are the father.
Sally, my aunt lets my 15-year-old cousin have sex in her home with her 22-year-old boyfriend. She already has a 17-year-old pregnant daughter, and I don't want the same thing to happen to her.
Sally, my daughter is 15 years old, and she thinks she's old enough to have drugs, alcohol, and sex. And I'm here to tell her she's not.
Sally, my sister is 17 years old. My mother knows that she's having sex in her house, and there's nothing my mother can do. So I'm here to set my sister straight.
Well, as parents, and I'm one, we really have mixed feelings about teens and sex. As a mother, we kind of wish they wouldn't. The fact is, most teens today are sexually active. And for them, it's a question of who, when, and where. Now, who they're going to have sex with and when they're going to have sex, that's out of our control. But we feel that the where is something that we can control. So what do you do if you know, or you at least suspect, that your teenager is sexually active? I mean, do you turn a blind eye and pray that you're wrong? Or do you take the bull by the horns and say, look, if you're going to do this, at least you do it at home where I know that you're safe and I can be sure that you're using protection. Today we're going to hear from moms and other family members who are wrestling with this very issue. I want you to meet my first guest, Anita, who's the mother of 15-year-old twin girls. Anita says that while her daughter Mary has always been kind of an angel, Mary's twin sister Monica is another story. Monica is with us backstage. Before we bring her out, Anita, tell us what's going on with Monica.
Well, she's 15 years old, and she thinks she's queen, and she thinks she can have sex at her age, and I don't feel she's right.
All right, but she's doing it, Mom.
Behind my back, yes.
Okay. You know for a fact that she's having sex, and with strangers.
Yes.
She drinks alcohol. She uses drugs.
Yes.
You will not allow her to do that in your own home.
No, I will not.
However, I know that when our producer booked you on the show, you spent a full day and night combing the streets of your town looking for Monica.
True.
And you finally found her at almost midnight?
Yes, I did, and she had been drinking at that time.
She was hanging out in a dark alley with strangers.
She was on one of the main drags with a couple of her friends.
Is this a common occurrence, or is this just to come on the show?
Yes, it has been in the last couple of months.
Okay. If you know that she's going to do these things no matter what, wouldn't it not be better to allow her to do them under your roof, where you can keep
I wasn't brought up to have sex and alcohol at home, and I'm not going to allow her to do it.
But once she's out on the street, let me just play devil's advocate. Once she's left and she's out on the street, where is she having this sex?
Anywhere she feels like she can hang at.
And it would not be better to have her at home where you can take care of her, where you know?
If I allow her to have sex at home and alcohol and drugs, I'm going to have to allow this one, and I will not tolerate it.
I don't think so.
Good girl. Mary, tell me about, first of all, having a twin is always very difficult. There's two of them. Now, how has your sister's behavior affected you?
Bad.
Bad. In what way?
She acts like a hoe.
She does. Do you feel that mother...
She has a reputation of being a little street girl, and it's making her look like one, even though she's not.
Mary, can I ask you if you're sexually active?
No.
You're not. Do you feel... Does your sister run away from home a lot? Do you feel she should be allowed to do things in the home or not?
She really should know she's only 15.
She should not. Okay. Well, as I said, Monica, who's 15, is waiting backstage. Let's hear what she has to say about running away. Come on out, Monica.
She's coming from that end.
Now, Monica...
I can do that too.
Tell me what the problem is.
First
I'm willing to
I ain't
listen.
No hoe.
Yeah, you
And
are.
second of all, I don't run away.
Girls.
Yes, you do.
You don't run away.
No, I didn't.
Tell me...
She's kicked me out,
Excuse
and I ain't
me.
no hoe.
I told
you are a
you.
hoe.
Excuse me, I told you your alcohol, your drugs, and your men could not come to my home, and I meant it.
Nice, so why do you think I'm out in Portland?
Because you rather have your drugs and your alcohol in your streets.
Well, I'd rather be out there than... I ain't
Yeah,
gonna
you're
give-
almost cool.
Monica?
You need to go back to school.
Mom would like you to be home, wouldn't you?
Yes, definitely.
But
I would like her to be back in school and getting an education, which she desperately needs.
Okay. What Mother doesn't want to do, Monica, is give you permission to do things in her home. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you think she's wrong? I mean, I'm willing to listen. Talk to me. You think she's wrong?
No, because she's done a lot of ignorant stuff to me, too.
What has she done to you, darling?
We're talking about sex. Don't cry.
Man, don't hug me. Like, stop being that guy's so cool.
She's a witch.
Monica, what has she done?
What do you mean by, what are you talking about?
Okay,
What has she done?
I'll start at the beginning. Mother would like you to live at home. She wants you to go to school.
Right,
Okay.
I will go to school.
Okay? But when Mother sets down rules like no sex in the house or no drugs in the house, am I right? Or no alcohol in the house? Although alcohol is a drug. Yes. Do you think that she's wrong in doing that?
No.
You think she's right in doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain
How
your
can
side.
I do it?
Let her talk.
Shh, let her talk. Explain your side.
Well, I've lived in Portland, Maine all my life, and
Okay?
it's just, I don't want to get away from all that. I want to stay there.
You want to stay in Portland. Doesn't Mother live in Portland?
No.
Just on the outskirts.
Okay. She lives on the outskirts. Why does Mother say she finds you out on the streets at all hours of the day and night?
Because I am.
Why?
Because at times, she won't come pick me up.
Okay.
I've called her from the shelter. She won't come pick me up. I've beeped her. I've called her on the cellular phone. She won't come pick me up. She won't answer her phone or anything.
Mom, is that true?
Sometimes I'm not home when she calls.
Okay. Do you
No,
think...
sometimes she is, but she ignores me.
Let me get back to the topic. Do you think you should be allowed to have sex in Mom's house? That's what we're talking about today.
Well, I'd rather be home doing it than out doing it when she knows that I might catch something.
But Mother says...
But sure use protection.
I do.
But Mother says
but
you...
I should be home doing it instead of out on the streets.
Whatever,
All right.
you're almost cool.
Monica, if your twin sister can live under the rules, why can't you? What's the difference?
She's a goody-goody. Look at her. Nobody's going to do it with her.
I like being a goody-goody, okay? I'm proud of not being a slut like you.
I'm not no slut.
So once you grow up and act your age, and I'll let you
I
bitch.
do act my age.
All right, girls, that's not the point. You feel you should be able to have sex in Mother's house. Mother feels you should not.
No, I get it. I know I shouldn't, though, because of my age. But
But what?
I should do what I want.
Why? Okay. You should be allowed to do what you want.
Excuse me. First of all, both of y'all need to grow up. That's your mother, and y'all on television. You should have respect for your mother. Another
have
thing.
respect for my mother.
Stop. Don't run around having sex, because in the long run, you'll pay for it.
I agree 100%.
I don't know if we've asked Monica. Monica, could you live at home and not do drugs, alcohol, and sex at home? Could you do that?
I could live at home, but I couldn't. I could live at home without sex and everything, but I couldn't live at home without drugs and alcohol.
Would you like to go? Would you like to get help for that, or are you happy with the drugs and alcohol? You have to want to get help. You don't want to get help, okay? That's fair. Telling the truth is the best thing
Monica,
to
you
do.
should get help. You're only 15. You don't need to die of AIDS or something like that.
I don't have AIDS or anything, Mary.
No, not now. Not now, no.
Monica, is the sex to get money for drugs and alcohol? No. Why the sex?
Actually, I don't need the sex. All I want is the drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
You don't need it.
I think that there's something deeper going on here, and there's a reason why she's using alcohol and drugs. And I do not agree with the way, her sister seems like she's trying to help her, but you're disrespecting your mother. I mean, you two shouldn't be
I'm
cursing at each.
respecting my mother.
Excuse me, I'm not done. You two shouldn't be
Whoa.
cursing at each other, especially you. That's not a way to get a message across to her. I mean, you're just as disrespectful as she is. It's just in a different way. And if you want to get a message towards her, then you need to love her. The way you're acting, I wouldn't listen to you either. I mean, you're not being a good example
I do
at
love
all.
her, so shut up.
Here's the question, though. Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask.
Can I have you stand?
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask. Is there a father in the home?
A stepfather.
Well,
Her father doesn't care anything about her.
well, Monica's her name.
Yes.
Monica, I feel sorry for you. Something is really going on in your life, right, that you really need to talk about it. My heart goes out for you. And, Mom, you should really try to get into Monica a little more, because something is really going on in your daughter's life that needs to be taken care of.
Monica, I agree with this lady. I really do. And guess what? You're worth saving. Do you get along with your stepfather? You do?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's her and her I don't get along with.
Okay, why? What is it you're trying to say? What are you trying to tell us? Because we really are trying to listen.
She gets everything she wants, and I don't get nothing.
That's
Okay.
not true.
Do
You're
you
not
feel
allowed
that-
to
She got
go.
$100 for clothes, whatever she wanted, and I didn't get nothing.
I told you I would take you school shopping anytime you wanted to go.
When's that gonna be? When we get home? Sure, I'll probably be out on the streets again.
You don't have to live in the streets. You can come home anytime you want to, but your drugs and alcohol, men cannot.
I don't care about the men.
You're welcome to come home anytime. Just leave your drugs and alcohol behind and behind you
Mom,
and go
don't
for
you
help.
think, Monica, you're dependent on them, aren't you?
Huh?
Are you dependent on the drugs and alcohol?
I like.
Okay.
But
no,
I
are you dependent?
I could go without.
I like a glass of wine, but I'm not dependent on the wine. Are you dependent on it? You have to have it.
Not. It depends.
Well, no, it doesn't depend. It doesn't depend. What kind of drugs, Monica?
Shush, what kind of drugs? To be honest.
I don't.
Okay. You don't have
She
to tell
smokes
us.
pot quite a bit.
Not only that.
I know, but you do pot quite a bit.
If Mom won't let you do it at home and you would genuinely like to live at home, is there any way you could get help?
Is there any other way?
Yes. Would you get help for
I've
it?
had her into 2 drug alcohol rehabs.
What happened?
Both times she walked out because of the strict rules.
Okay. That's the
both
problem.
times I walked out because you weren't there to help me.
I couldn't be there 24 hours a day. They had locked you up behind the doors.
I
were
think she
trying to
needs
help
help.
you.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you weren't there for me to talk to, maybe I wouldn't have freaking out like I did.
I think that the sex is a symptom of something else. I think
To be loved?
I think so. I think it goes deeper than just the drugs and alcohol. I think it's like a family issue.
Anita, what's going to happen when you go home?
I'm going to try to talk her into coming home. But if she won't, then I can't force her. I can't drag her home and tie her there. I would like her to get some counseling.
But you don't want to go to counseling, do you?
I will, but then if I go home, I'm gonna end up putting with their mouths bitching at me every day. Well, excuse my language, though, but
Okay.
I'm gonna put up with their mouths every day, and I'm gonna put up with her slapping on me. She punches me every day.
Who does?
Whatever. You too, Mary.
Okay. Next, we're going to meet a mom who says the opposite of what you're saying. This mother says, yes, you can have sex at home. The young girl can with her 21-year-old boyfriend. She says this way she can make sure the girl doesn't get into trouble. Now, Mom's niece says, wake up, Mom. The other teenager's already pregnant because you're too busy being their friend instead of their mother. So they're all going to be here when we come back. Welcome back. Today we started out talking about should you let your teenagers have sex at home? Now, that's a question, and there seems to be 2 schools of thought on this. One side said, hey, kids are going to do it. Better they do it under your roof where you know they're safe than in some back alley like our first guest, Monica. Others say, it's wrong to send the message that sex at that age is okay or that sex in your parents' home is okay. So during the break, I think most of us looked at Monica and Mom. You were all hugging, right? Now, The point is, you really basically have a love for each other,
Oh, yeah, we love each other.
but problems that are much more important than having sex in the home, aren't they? That's what most of us feel, that there are other problems that are much harder.
Well, these two are fighting constantly, and I
Right.
can't handle that.
So, but that's another thing. That's not just
Yeah,
sex.
she seems to take it more to heart than anything else.
Right. And so she's the one who leaves and goes out on the street and
Yeah.
feels that you don't love her. That's
But
more
I do love
sibling.
her. I do.
Well, she feels you don't love her as much as you love the sister.
No, I love them equal.
Okay. Now, 20-year-old Jessie says she is worried about her Aunt Debbie and Debbie's 15-year-old daughter, Susan. Debbie is waiting backstage and will join us in a minute. Let's hear from Jessie. Jessie, the problem is the opposite from our first family, right?
Yes.
Okay. You called our show because Aunt Debbie is allowing her 15-year-old daughter to have sex with her boyfriend at home. What is the problem with this? Is she doing wrong? Should she not do that?
She shouldn't do that. I don't think so, because she's only 15 years old. She just turned 15. This has been going on for over a year.
Okay.
It's not that she's just having sex, but from what I know, she's having unprotected sex, and there's so many things out there. I don't want to see her get hurt. I have a 17-year-old cousin, her sister, who is pregnant now, and she was allowed to have sex. I don't want the same thing to happen to her.
So you feel your aunt has made two mistakes, one
Yes.
with the older daughter who is pregnant and one with this daughter.
Yes, she's doing the same thing. It's like she hasn't learned from it.
Okay. Is it possible that Debbie thinks by giving Susan some freedom, she's making sure that Susan will not turn out like Monica and go and hide? And
No, I don't think it's freedom at all. I think she's trying to control her. Debbie likes to control people, and this is the way she can control where she has sex, who she has sex with, and things like that.
let's say she told her daughter not to have sex. The daughter's going to do it anyhow, right?
Probably, yes, but like other kids, you know, when you're a teenager, you're supposed to go out and sneak around, and if you get caught, you get grounded or something.
Okay, I think we got to the topic. Debbie, come on out. Now, Debbie, the first thing I want you to know is Jessica, it contacted us because she loves you. I don't think she's trying to meddle, and I think she's trying to just say, hey, wait a minute, let's investigate this. Why do you let your teenager have sex at home? Is this right?
It's not right for every person, okay? But in my situation, the daughter that is pregnant, she got pregnant in a car, okay? So she was not in the home.
But she still had sex at home?
When she got pregnant, okay.
Was she allowed to have sex at home?
Not at first, no. Not until I knew that they were sexually active. And what I like to do is I like to make sure that my daughters have condoms, that they're protected, they have spermicides. You know, I provide this for them so that they do not become pregnant.
So they won't go in a car or do whatever they will do, right?
Right.
Okay.
They're going to go in a car and do it anyways, regardless of what
Maybe I
you
should
got
not
to say. That's
Okay,
like
so
her.
yeah.
If I say, well, you can bring your boyfriend home and have sex, she's going to do that, and she's still going to go out and have sex other ways.
Okay.
There's no way we can control them.
No, we can't control them, but we can, you know, give them the tools that they need to make.
That's other words. That's saying,
You
go
can
ahead.
give them all
It's
the
okay.
condoms
Do
you
it.
want. That doesn't mean they're going to use them. I mean, teach them how to use them. Teach them what they're for. Don't just hand them to them.
I teach Susan about sex. I have told her the consequences. She knows. And ever since that Jennifer got pregnant, you know, she's more careful than she ever was.
Well, even whenever I talked to her, this was while Jennifer was pregnant, and she wasn't even using any kind of birth control.
Who?
Susan.
Yes, she was.
That's not what she told me.
What Susan told you? Mm-hmm. Then, see,
You're her mother. She's not going to tell
you
you
get your facts
everything.
straight to begin with.
I don't know. What I find upsetting is to hear two mothers say that they can't control their daughters. And I mean, my parents weren't ogres. They didn't hit me, but I was afraid of them in a sense, and I respected them, and I did what I thought was right.
Would you have not had sex because your parents didn't want you to? If you really wanted to, these are the hard questions now, because I'm not sure what my answer would be. So, what's yours? If your mother had said no, we don't do this at 15, and you really were in love with somebody, would you have had sex with them?
I would have waited till I was out of the house, which I was at 18.
Then that's a fair answer. We'll be right back. Later in the show, Monica makes a shocking announcement. And this girl says that her 17-year-old sister, who's pregnant, is headed for big trouble because Mom lets her have sex at home. But the sister says she should mind her own business. They'll both be here later on.
You are the five. Get off my stage.
Teenagers and, in this case, sex in the home. One mother says, no, no way, and her daughter goes and leaves and is out on the street. Another mother says, yes, I'd rather her do it at home. But the niece, you are a niece, correct? Mm-hmm. But the niece, who is also a friend, says, gosh, I think you're doing the wrong thing to allow them to have sex in your own home. I want you to meet 18-year-old Amy. She called our show because she's worried about her 17-year-old sister, Becky, I guess there's a year between them, who's waiting backstage. Amy, what's the problem with Becky?
She's 17 years old. She is having sex in my mother's house.
Now, your mother approves of this.
There's nothing my mom can do. Everybody says that there's stuff that my mom can do. My mom works very hard. She works all the time, and
short of locking the doors,
she's tried.
There is nothing. Well, how does mother feel about this?
She comes home, she screams, she yells, she tries to punish.
Okay.
Nothing. She punishes her, she leaves. She calls the police. My mom has called the police. My mom has gotten to the point where she's gotten in fights with my sister to try to keep her in the house.
So the sister will bring men home no matter what?
No, not men, just one.
Just one?
Yes.
Okay. The sister will bring a man home no matter what?
Right.
There is no way your mother can keep your sister from doing that because she's out all day working?
My mom has tried, okay? She's tried, but there's only a certain point that you can go to. I mean, there's just a certain point. She's basically tried everything.
Did your mother let you have sex at home with your boyfriend?
No.
She did not, but she's doing this for the sister.
Doing this with the sister? My mom, I left. I mean, there was a couple times when I left. If I was gonna have sex, I left. I didn't do it in my mom's house.
Where did you do it?
His house.
I'm getting the feeling that everyone thinks this is a bad idea, but when I keep asking where, it's cars and his house and things like that. Becky's been waiting backstage. Let's hear what she has to say. Becky, come on out. Okay, Becky. No one can control you, right?
She's completely lying. My mom controls me. I've never gotten into a fight with my mother. She's gotten into fist fights with my mother, and I've had to break it up. I bring my fiance one man home. And my mom knows about this. She knows.
How does mother feel about this?
She likes him to a point. Sometimes, well, he's got a really bad temper, so sometimes she likes him, sometimes she's mad at him, sometimes she doesn't. This one brings home
Well, wait, let me
partners.
ask the question.
She's like, I was married.
Does
She's
mother
lying.
tell
I was
you that
married.
it's all right to have sex with your fiance at home?
Well,
Let's keep to that.
No, I don't think, to a certain point, it's going to sound hypocritical, but I wouldn't want my kids having sex to a point, no, wait, shut up. To a point, I would want my kids doing things at my house because I would know what they're doing. If they wanted to drink, I'd want them doing it at my house because they wouldn't go out and they wouldn't be in danger. But now Monica told me that her mom kicked her out of the house at 12 years old.
You lying.
12 years old.
First time you
She
kicked
was
me
in a
out, I was
shelter.
12 years old. Ask
You're
my
lying.
sister. Whatever.
You're lying.
12 years old.
You're
12
lying.
years old. Yeah, ask my
Oh, was you doing drugs then?
I was.
You need your fanny slapped. Don't worry, honey.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you. Becky, I'm listening.
She needs it.
Becky, you would not let your kids have sex in your home.
I've done it a couple times. I've had sex in my mom's house a couple times. And she's known every single time I've done it.
She has
known every single time I've done it. But she has had sex. She's a hypocrite. She's had sex in the house. And there are so many people that even say she would.
Okay.
I found her friend, she's married, okay? She's been married for what, like 2 years maybe, 2-3 years. She's got a baby, and her husband are split up now, but they are still married. Because he hits her.
He cheats on me and he hits me.
But she cheats on him too. She has had sex with this boy in our house. She has had sex with boys in our house.
She's lying. No, I have not.
We've just gone off into a different show, haven't we?
He came downstairs.
Yeah. All right, ladies, I'm going to try and bring you back on the track. I think we got 2 sets of sibling rivalry. We should have called this Sisters Who Hate Each Other or something.
Debbie, I think you spend too much time being a friend. You have those are your children. They're your children. It's about setting boundaries, doing the right thing. I mean, whether you want them to do the right thing or not, whether they do the right thing or not is not the issue. But
Okay,
you can't tell them to buy condoms for them, buy them spermicides. That's not a good thing. 15 years old, that's not a good thing.
But she's having sex at any rate. I want her protected.
It's still not a good thing.
And this is, in my opinion.
Does she use birth controls? No.
She uses condoms.
Go ahead.
She uses
But still,
spermicide.
condoms are
Stand up for me.
You still can get
Yes.
pregnant condoms. They can
Yeah, you
break
can.
male sex.
And
Who's on the
that's why
left?
she
Debbie.
uses spermicide.
Debbie, I see. I'm not supposed to buy spermicides and stuff like that. As a mother, at least the way I've been taught, and my mother, she taught me about that. She didn't go out and buy it for me. She taught me about that. And that kept me safe. Not going out and buying it for me.
Did you ever have unprotected sex?
Unprotected? No, my mother tells me not. I mean, the church tells me not. My family tells me not. I mean,
Some people listen. Some people listen.
Okay.
Hard as it is, yeah. Well, that's going to ruin your career.
Sally, I think it's just a matter of respect. You know, I don't think they respect themselves as well as their moms, and I think it starts from the home. Mom's got to teach them to respect. Monica, there's help for you. There's a lot of help for you. It seems like you can't go to mom, so you should go to somewhere else. You know, what a friend, you know, or a neighbor, you know, a teacher or somebody. You know, there's a lot of help.
I had a chance. Now listen to this. I had a chance to go to day 1 rehab, but she wanted to wait till July 4th. I wanted to go. I was so excited about it. She wanted to wait.
When you said you wanted to go.
I was not.
Yeah,
I was
you
straight.
were.
I was
No, you
straight.
were not.
Monica, you got to take charge of your life. Forget mom. If mom's not going to help, then forget
I know
mom.
she's not.
Go on.
Do it yourself.
Do it myself. I need
Yes.
your signature.
You can have it.
I think we're picking on Monica. I really feel the whole family needs help, and it's very obvious that the mother favors the blonde girl.
That's not true. That's not true.
Monique,
No, it isn't.
if you was home where you belong, you'd be getting the same thing.
Oh, if I was home where I belong, I wouldn't be out doing all this.
Then come home.
Come home.
Then come home. How can I come home with you beating on me? You
Oh,
I'll
baloney.
beat on you.
You have your own
beat on you right
bedrooms. You
now.
have your own
Oh, how
privacy.
small is it? Oh, it's small.
You have your own
It's our
privacy.
second set of
6 foot by 6
sisters who
foot
have
room.
that, the question is for Amy and Becky. Our producers talked with your mother before the show. She said the main problem is that you two are always at each other's throats and ought to stop worrying. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. You ought to stop worrying about each other and worry about yourselves.
See, the thing is,
We look out for each other, you
but
know?
we argue in the process. We hate each other sometimes because sometimes I won't listen to her and she won't listen to me. Sometimes I think what she's saying, she's wrong. She needs to mind her business and stay out of it.
And I think her boyfriend is totally,
She just doesn't like
I'm
him. but
trying
I
to
think-
protect her. You don't know what, I'm trying to protect my
But
sister
what
from
would
this
you
boy.
do? What would you do in a situation where you had a boyfriend, you loved him, you guys planned on getting married sometime in the future, and your sister was constantly butting in? She doesn't like me in her business, so I don't think she should be in mine.
Next, this mother says it's okay if my 16-year-old wants to have sex with her 25-year-old boyfriend in my house. This way I can make sure she's okay and uses protection. That's so how did her daughter get pregnant? We'll find out next. And later in the show, Monica makes a shocking announcement. Amy, do I understand that he has been shoving her or hitting her or pushing her?
I hate to even talk about it because I don't want to lose my sister.
I understand. But she just walked off too. Now,
They're probably not going to come back.
okay. But what do you think happened? I mean, why?
He's too abusive to her.
Okay.
And she's 3 months pregnant. And
Right.
it's hard.
And you don't want her
I had a
hurt.
child at 17 years old.
Right.
And
You don't want her hurt.
I don't want her to have to, they're not gonna be together for this child. I'm not together with my husband because of this, and
Do you understand why I got so angry?
Yeah,
you know,
this
you
is
get
how
it,
angry
you
I've
get it
gotten,
up
and
to
I've
here
tried.
with women who just won't do something for themselves. I mean,
everybody yelled at me, screamed at me,
right, and you wouldn't listen.
and I wouldn't listen to him. I loved him, I wouldn't listen to him, but I got the picture, and I will try till I die to help her.
Okay. You have to, all of you forgive me for getting off the track. I know we were talking about sex in the home with teenagers, but we also encountered some sibling rivalry, and we also encountered some female abuse. And I think when these things come up, you have to deal with them. I want you to meet Kim and her 16-year-old daughter, whose name is also Kim. Are you Kim Jr.?
No.
No, just Kim Kim?
Just Kim
Okay.
Kim.
Kim, the mom, says she knows her daughter is having sex, so there's no point in making her hide and do it in the car or the sleazy motel. Kim also says she feels that by maintaining an open relationship with her daughter, she can make sure her daughter is safe and uses protection. I don't know how you can do that unless you're in bed with them at the moment, but Kim, let's get out in the open. Your plan didn't work because your 16-year-old daughter did in fact get pregnant and now has a baby. So what happened with the plan?
Well, she was on birth control pill when she ended up pregnant. And in the state of Pennsylvania, they told us that she had a cyst on her ovary.
Yeah.
And we now have an 8-month beautiful cyst. And she's a doll. And the daddy and the boyfriend is wonderful. And I wouldn't take nothing for him. And when she's 18, if they still want to get married, I'm all for it.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
So-
and I know she's not going to get pregnant right now because she takes a shot. It's called a depot shot. It keeps
Okay.
her from getting pregnant. And he spends the weekends with her.
In the house?
Yes.
Are they having sex in the house?
Yes.
And is that all right?
That's fine with me.
Okay. I understand your point about wanting to be open, but are you saying that you have no problem with the fact that she's involved with a boyfriend?
No.
Any problem with the fact he's 25 years old?
He's 24.
24, no problem?
No.
Okay. I want to, how old are you?
Me or her?
You?
Me, 16.
16, 17. That's 8 years difference. I want to welcome Susan Rabin, a relationship therapist who's been with us before. Susan, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Rabin.
Rabin. Thank you for correcting me. Susan is the former Family Living Sex Education Coordinator for the New York City Board of Education. Now that's 13 years. Susan, I guess it isn't a simple right and wrong question or answer, is it?
This is the most complicated
Of all
subject
the-
there is.
Is it?
In fact, sex is one of the subjects that really divides our society, as you know, with the abortion issue, etc. And when I was doing sex education in New York City, the diversity and the differences of opinion are tremendous, as you can hear here. The only thing that bothers me here is there's so much judgmentalness about what someone else should do. And basically, sex is a private issue. And what the parents believe and the families believe is what should go on in their home. And hopefully, if you raise your children with your belief systems, with your values from very young, we won't get to the point where there's an explosion at the teenage years.
But we've gotten, let's take our first family, Susan. We've gotten to this. I mean, we're at this point, right?
Well, the communication is broken down here. Monica has a lot to say to her mom, a lot. And she feels that her mom doesn't listen. Now, your mom may feel the same way about Monica. And listening is one of the most important skills there is. I know that because I talk a lot and I have to listen more. But you need to listen. Maybe you can tell her what you would like to happen, Monica.
I would like to happen when we go back to Portland. You take me to immediate rehab.
Great.
Baby, I
But Monica.
Let me
Monica, you don't do...
I want you to say it to everybody so that you will do it because...
I will take you to rehab. I will.
Because last time you wanted to wait till July 4th.
I want you off drugs. I want you off the alcohol.
Then why did you say that last time?
Because you were stoned and you didn't
I listen. I got ears, I listen.
It doesn't have to break down. Right now, she's going to take you. You're going to take
Definitely.
it. Now, it's not going to be easy.
Why don't you leave me here in New York and have me stay out of rehab?
No, you're going home where you can get the help.
Well, she'll be close by if you're back home.
Yeah, but when I go back out, I'll be with all my friends again.
You know what
that's part of what rehab does.
There you go. You know what you
part of
learn in
what
rehab,
does.
Monica? Let me tell you what you learn. You learn what you learn in a 12-step program. You change your friends. You can no longer have those friends. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Well, Monica's taken a big first step. But will she follow through on her promise? We'll tell you what happened after the show ended and the family went home. Later on.
You are the five. Get off my stage.
Teenagers shouldn't be allowed to have sex in the home. Not only is it wrong, but it's disrespectful. I think you're very young to be having sex. I'm talking about sex in the house.
Let's ask Susan. Susan, this mother says she's the only one of the mothers we found who said no. Her mother said, what, okay?
She's just not around.
Not around, okay, and okay. We hear a lot of okays. Are these mothers right?
Teenagers are sexually active. 50% of teenagers are sexually active.
90.
That may be higher now from when I was the family living sex ed coordinator. And other countries, for instance, Sally, Netherlands and Sweden, do not have high teenage pregnancy because they understand that hormones rage, teenagers grow, and so they educate them and they use protection and they talk to them. So if this parent feels that that's a wiser thing to do, then that's her choice. And I think in the age of AIDS, and in New York City, I don't want my child in the park or in the car because not only will they may get pregnant, they may get killed. Yeah. So, I mean, if she chooses the house, then that's her choice. If she says no, then that's the way the children have to respect it. It is an individual choice, and the age makes a difference, too. How the parents feel. At 15, no. At 16, maybe. At 17, okay. It's a steady boyfriend, yes. You know, it's really very individual, but what we have to do is communicate. And I would bet that most of these people have not sat down since they're little and talked about sexuality and spoke about what it means for feelings to be a mother, to be a father, to be a friend, to take care of children, to be sexually. That's important all the way up so that they're healthy. Also, one more thing. I don't hear a lot here about sex. I hear a lot here about love and attention, like you said. Several of your people said. That's
very interesting.
And teenagers get pregnant for that reason because they want love, they want attention, they think this baby will love them, and all of us that have had children know that that doesn't quite
That's a heck of a
work.
way to go about it, yes. Can you stand?
Yes.
Steady every day.
Isn't a man guilty of rape if he has sex with 15 and 16-year-old children?
No, depends on what state you're in, darling. I had charges pressed against this same guy when she was 13 years old. They got him for statutory rape. They charged him $500-something and turned him loose. Whenever she turned 14 in the state of Georgia, you are old enough to consent to sex. And that's what a police chief of Boston, Georgia told me. I could not have nothing done, and I'd rather for her to come in my home and have sex than to go out walking around like with all these crackheads and drug addicts and all these alcoholics out here running around and pick my child up and take my child. Why you think all these young girls go missing nowadays?
Take a break. We'll be right back. All right, Susan, let me go down the line. Let's start with our Kimberly and Kim. Mother, it's perfectly right from mom to mom. I happen to not agree with you. Here's why. I feel if she's old enough to have sex and have a baby, she's old enough then to be married, and the guy's 25, he should be supporting her, and they should have their own home instead of her in between living like a child and living like an adult.
In the state of Georgia.
What? Because you see, she doesn't have to take responsibility for bringing up the baby. She doesn't have to
Oh,
take.
yes, she does.
I have a question.
She does it all, darling. She does it all.
Do you feel responsible for her having that baby?
Why does she live at home?
That's her
responsibility.
But I mean,
she was
you
not
had
in
sex
bed with me whenever I was doing
but
I know.
You go, darling.
Kim,
you have
why?
You let her have sex in your house?
Yeah, but at least she ain't out here having sex with
But she's having
whoever.
kids.
Do what?
I said she's not out having sex with every.
So what? What are you talking? You had a baby at 17.
Yes, I had, but my mom did not approve of it and let me have sex in her house.
So
Well,
what?
that's why
Susan,
you were pregnant.
Susan, what about the mothers who are letting the children get pregnant, have babies? The mothers are
Well, they're
taking care
not
of them.
letting them and allowing them. This is
That's
going to
right.
happen. If
Right.
they decide to have it in the house, that's where it's going to be. And if it's not in the house, I don't know about this audience, but I can tell you they're having it somewhere else because they are having sex. Many, many people are.
This is okay, all right? No other comment about Kim and Kim? Let's move on.
Well, I agree with you.
But
I
Liz,
think
I
she's
got
a
one thing
grown
to say.
person with a baby, and people used to have babies at 15, 16, raise families. I think she can do that. if she-
Why is she living at home?
All parents, I mean, they need to open their eyes. This is
No, but
just
why
not
is she
our
living
family.
at home?
Because I want her to live at home until she is 18. When she's 18, we're more than glad to help her pay for a wedding. We even told him, we will help pay for your wedding. We will stretch. My mom and daddy signed me away when I was 14 years old.
There's your answer.
I am not signing my child into something that she's going to throw in my face and say, well, yeah, if I wouldn't be married, if you wouldn't have put me in it.
And not only that, in Georgia, when you are pregnant, the only thing you have to have is a statement from the doctor, and you go to the courthouse and get married. No parent's signature at all. Not
So
even,
you don't
it
need
doesn't
her
matter.
to, you don't need
You
her
don't
to
need
do
that.
that.
Now because she ain't
Now, because I'm
pregnant
not. I
anymore.
could have did it, but I did not want to. We was not ready yet. We've only been together 3 years, and I don't feel that's long enough for me.
See, this runs deep. All of this runs deep. This mother feels that way because of her experience. These people feel that way because of their experience. There's a lot of deep stuff here from years and years and years that can't be solved in a minute, but if they open talking and communication, they have a chance to
That's
start.
what we
Okay, take a break.
communicate constantly.
You know, Susan, every once in a while we start a program on one topic and it winds up with two others. But, you know, that's life, and it isn't something that we're making up, and these are not actors, these are real people. So I would like to thank all of you for having been with us today. Going to touch base with you again and find out how you're doing. See you next time. After the show ended, we kept in touch with Monica and her mother, Anita, and we're very happy to say that Monica did keep her promise to enter a drug rehab program. She's now in a residential treatment center where the whole family participates in counseling, and her mom reports that Monica is doing very well.
You are the Five.